Hey everybody, how's everybody doing today? Welcome to my photo editing live stream for Tuesday, where I edit your photos live here in Olympus Workspace, and if it's an Olympus camera, and if it's any other camera, we do it in Lightroom. And also I give you a picture of my own that you guys can edit, so it's always fun to see what you guys do with mine. You guys are really some excellent photo editors out there. But I do my best, and I think it's very educational to see what I do and photo editing, and also especially what you guys do to my photo edits, so we can see multiple edits of the same image. And I put up a new thing in my forum. It's not new, I just kind of renamed it uh, because there's been some requests where you want to submit your photo and see how everybody would edit your photo, right? So now you can upload raw images to my forum. Let me pull it up real quick. But just scroll down here to the image threads here, and then live stream viewer edits, which are the edits that you guys do of my picture. And I put the raw file back there in case you want to edit it again or do something, but you have access to the raw image here. And then just below that, critique and or edit my photos. So this is where you can submit your photo, and then other members in the forum can edit it and post it back, their version of your photos. So it might be kind of fun. And you know, the rules are simple. It's got to be your own image, and you know, it's got to be tasteful, all that good stuff. I think I put that here. Yeah, you give permission to post it here for editing and educational purposes, but you retain all rights. And then there's a bunch of other rules for the forum, you know, just standard stuff. And don't steal images, obviously, right? So, you know how it is. Whenever you post something on Instagram, it's out there, right? But I have to put it there. So that's that. So that could be fun. Um, but that's cool. I think, like I said, there's so many of you do such awesome edits on my photo that I think some of you were like, wow, I'd love to see what they do with mine. And also it's there for critiquing, right? Which is the other thing I've kind of added. And I'm going to try and um, formalize some way to separate editing and critiquing photos, because like I said, a lot of you are already very competent with editing, and you would just like a critique of your image. So for right now, all I'm doing is like if you look at this image here, it just says critique me. So if you prefix your file name with critique only, then I'll just do a quick I'll do a critique best I can, you know, and maybe a quick edit of what I'm trying to describe if I were critiquing the image. But so that way you can send them in and we can get more images in. But I'm thinking about maybe separating critiquing and photo editing into separate categories, because I can probably critique 40 or 50 images in the same time frame that it takes me to edit like 10 images, you know. So there's that. Okay, let's see. And Lauren's here, Scott's here. Oh, hope your dad's okay. I'm glad you're staying on top of that with him. And SL7293, Demorkin, Dawood, Annette, good to see you back. And Stephen Page, Jeff Painter, awesome. So we have a good group here. Scott, good to see you. And Sedge Gabber from Aberdeen, UK. Wow, John follows, Jonas, Steve G, awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So that's sort of the admin stuff out of the way that I'm thinking about. But I mean, do you guys think of photo critiquing live stream separate from this would be better, or should I just, I don't know, there's so many ways to do it. Like, I can critique live images, or like Tony and Chelsea did. We still need to do that roast on those guys, right? But why is my chair stuck? Because I'm a cheap bastard and got, anyway. Um, Doing a separate photo critiquing video where I can do a lot more images in a shorter amount of time, and doing editing, or just do it all in one like this. But we'll see. Oh, hey, Moises is here. Good to see you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the first one. Let me close this off. And separate would be good, huh? Okay. I think that would be good, right? Because not a lot of you just want some critiques and some ideas versus, going through the whole editing scenario, right? And actually, I got an email from Rick. He suggested that I don't even bother putting a timer on the images when I'm doing the editing. And I got mixed feelings about that personally. I think putting a timer for me to edit them like in 4 minutes instead of like, and I remember when I started editing, it was taking me 10, 15 minutes to do one image. Um, and I'd never get through them all if I did it that way. Of course, probably end up with a better edit, but um, my thinking is too is if I can't find the image or the direction I want to go with editing within a couple of minutes, um, I'd be wasting people's time really. Because some images are a hot mess, right? I mean, most of the time they're beautiful like this image, but sometimes you get a hot mess, and I sometimes I just don't see it, and maybe there's an image there, but I don't see it in a couple of minutes. I can't spend 10 or 15 minutes just trying to find a good shot within the image sometimes, but I don't know. Um, Denny's used to have a timer on the table. Made me nervous, like a bomb was ticking. And then DeMorgan says, before the timer is taking a long time, would like to see more deep edits and maybe less total edits, kind of spread them out. Yeah. Hey, Roberto, good to see you. um, yeah, it's a tough call. It's because, yeah, sometimes, I really like to spend more time on the edit and get it where it needs to be, but then I wouldn't get through them all either. So it's maybe separating critiques and edits. We'll see. We'll see. I have to feel it out for now. But okay, let's go ahead and get started with this one. And really, it's more than 4 minutes, right? Because I spent a minute or two looking at EXIF data, then another couple of minutes, final touches. But 4 minutes is a good window, I think, for me to find something. Timers don't work according to Ahmed. Who's Ahmed? Okay, so before I start the timer, let's look at the EXIF data. EM1 Mark II, 12 to 100, 25 millimeter f22, 4 seconds. So we were going for a long exposure and high res shot on a tripod. Image stabilization off, of course, in high res shot mode, right? So awesome. Awesome. Now f22 is going to introduce diffraction, but if you didn't bring a ND filter, you're pretty much stuck with using high apertures, right? And we'll do a quick full screen. I'll go ahead and start the timer here. All right. It's crooked, I think. So we'll straighten the horizon. And we have a nice foreground object for scale leading up. I think I'll do a vertical on this. So let me just straighten it out first. And sometimes I use these lines. Usually I can just eyeball it, but we'll throw a line in. Maybe I was pretty close. Maybe about right there. And sometimes it's deceiving, right? Getting a straight line when the horizon is kind of curves and things. And I'm leaning towards a vertical. Let's see how much of this we need. Maybe right there. I go to this corner. No, I think over here is better. This leads your eye up into the frame, I think. And oh, you guys can hear Ellie yapping away. Yeah. All right, that's good. And we'll stay with color. Let me see if I can pop the color a little bit. It's not bad. Just warm it up a little. There we go. And I'm going to go back and just back this off. Just a notch. Because I think who was this? Samir had this leveled, but the way the horizon is, it looks crooked. But there we go. And all right, let's push a little clarity because we need to offset this diffraction issue. Yeah, maybe a 5x4. I think that's a good call. That's a good call, Lauren. We'll go 5x4, but come over a little bit. Right about there. And come off the top. Need to come off the top a little bit. Okay. Yeah, that looks better. And I did the sharpening. I don't think there's anything there I need. I've done that. All right, maybe some more clarity or dehaze. And a little gradation. Bring up the shadow area down here. And let's throw in a little more dehaze. I mean, I like the softness back here, but it's frozen. I'm clicking, but nothing's happening. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's all diffraction issues. A little bit over sharpened. All right, let me work with the tone curve. Let's just pull the midtones a little bit. Lauren says, need space on the right, which is free of thought, the breathing space. Oh, hey, Wiley, how are you? Could be. Oh, I'm out of time, but all right. I mean, I maybe go square if we want a little more room, like Lauren's suggesting. All right, we'll call it there. So there's the before and after. And probably the only other thing I would do is pull off a little magenta off the snow here because it looks a little bit purplish. So I would pull some of the reds out, but I think that came out pretty good. It just needed to be warmed up. I mean, it's a different look and feel when it's warmer, but that's more to my taste. But if you want a cooler feeling so it looks colder, that's totally legitimate, right? All right. There we go. Yep, good suggestions by all. All right, now we have one here from Dragos, some probably a live composite. Let's look at the EXIF real quick. EM1 Mark II with 12 to 40 Pro, 17 millimeter, 6-second exposure, single frame. Wow. Okay. Another long exposure, but ISO 1000. Wow. You probably could have shot this at a lower ISO. is my only suggestion here. And other than that, I think it's fine. So yeah, definitely we need to straighten the horizon. Again, I'm just going to eyeball it here. There is a little bit of barrel distortion, it feels like, but I think that's just... could be just me. And a slight keystone. Oh, that's too much. All right, there. And I'm going to try dramatic tone. Ooh, too much. All right, so let's do it manually. With the haze and clarity. There we go. Let's do some clarity for the lightning and speculars. Okay, and then I'm gonna... oh, that's adding a little bit of noise though. Let's see if we go to vivid, if we can get a little more color in the sky. Yeah. And then just, let's try 6000K. I don't know, I like warm images. Might be a hair too warm. Let's try 5700. Okay, and then let's crank in the sharpness, turn off the noise filter, and ooh, that was not a good idea. Maybe just put this on low. Now the question is what to do with the foreground. If I silhouette it slightly to bring the clouds in better, that doesn't look bad. Sepia. And then compositionally, I think let me just try a square crop, but move this over. I don't know. I really like the clouds up top. I just need to come in. Let's do 4x5. There's just not too much stuff on the left side, so I'm just trying to minimize that and focus right in here. All right, there we go. Darken the midtones a bit. I can do that. Right there. Yep. Push the highlights. All right, let's call it there. So there's a before and after. I don't know what it is with the magentas today. It's a little bit strong on the magenta. So definitely pull that off a little bit. But I think compositionally the 4x5 here looks better than this one. It's a little bit too light on this side, meaning there's not much weight over here. I wonder if I can pull off the magenta a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Now we're good. Let that render out. There we go. Nice. Nice, really nice. Okay. Let's go. Here we have John Follows. So what's going on here? I have a security camera. I have this beautiful tree. I would have got a shot of this tree instead of all this. I don't know what all this is down here. Oh, maybe looks like a feeding bowl or something. What is this? These are weird. Okay. And then the EXIF says what? EM5 Mark III with a 9-18 at 17 millimeters, f7.1 400. Yep. Good settings. I don't know what to do with this though. I don't have any context of what these things are. So I'm just not going to use it at all. Let me just come up here. Chimney pots. Oh, that kind of makes sense. I don't know. John Truman knows what they are. Too much off the bottom? Maybe. I don't like anything down here. Let me see if I can balance the bottom left and the top right. All right, and then I need to keystone it. Okay. And soft focus. Warm it up. And then let's pull this and this. Add some vignette. Yeah, I agree, Plato. There's still a lot going on, right? But I'm gonna save the chimney pots just for the sake of, because if I crop in all the way up, this is my challenge, right? Like the tree is cut off and the angle is a little bit rough. And if I include a little bit of the buildings, then that almost works, but it's just weird having this a little bit more keystoning. It's just kind of, there's not much there either. So I'm leaning towards Lauren's idea of, and he's elaborated here, just multiple things, you know, like a street photo. So I think right there is good. The only other thing I might consider is Either vivid or monotone. There's not many tones here to monotone. It's pretty bland. So I don't like that at all. It's not terrible, but let me see if I can work it this way. Because there were some decent colors in here. Just gonna look at color one more time. Where's my... Oh, here. I'm out of time, but we'll just leave it color. And then Steve says move to the left a little bit. Just a little. I don't think I want to move more than that. And then the keystoning needs to be more. This pipe is crooked. All right, let's call it there. Yeah, both black and white and color seem to work okay. So let that render out so the soft focus filter comes in. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not too bad. Very punchy, but soft, right? And we got the chimney pots in, which I guess give this picture context to the photographer that took it, you know, John. I think to the average person though, like me, who doesn't even know what a chimney pot is, I'm like, why are you taking a picture of that? But for John, who took this picture, he knows, I assume he knows what they are, and that's why he took this picture. So I just tried to balance the bottom left with the heavier tree on the top right, and then the housing structures there just kind of frame it a little bit. And that's it. Okay. I think I actually I prefer the monochrome. Okay, let's see what else we got here. There. That looks good to me. Gets rid of all the color. But either way, chimneys are suitable. Oh wow. We have some another beautiful landscape. Looks like a photographer there. And what did we use to take this? The it's no EXIF data, so it might be a phone. And the horizon's pretty straight. Maybe we'll leave the horizon alone. But definitely, I'm going to go monotone, see where I can get with this. And let's put a red filter to bring the sky in. That didn't help too much. If I cool it off some. Ah, there. Oh, Marcel is here. How are you? Let's you know, still a color image, so playing with the white balance is also like playing with the filters a little bit. That's a little too much though. I'm getting some glow there. Okay. And let's sharpen it. And oops. Oh, Wiley's here. Minolta P garage sale camera, 38 millimeters lens, zone focus. Cool. Let's play with the blacks and then push the midtones just a tiny bit. Maybe the highlights a little bit. Yeah. Okay, now compositionally, this rock. I like this rock is huge. But the photographers, let me look at it full screen. You might not notice this person here right away, so I'm going to scale it a little bit differently. And move the person. Okay. What if I get my corner? No. I like the sky a little bit more. Camera was made in 1964. Wow. So this is a film scan, maybe. Could be. 8 by 12. Let's see. 8 by 12. Yeah. Yeah, that's a little better. I think I'll leave it here. I got 28 seconds. Let me see what a color looks like again. Wow, that almost looks film-like, doesn't it? Pull off the... That feels very, very film-like. All right, let's leave it there. Let's stay with color. I thought the black and white looked good, but I don't know. I think the big difference is the composition, right? The rocks were a little bit too heavy on the left side, just kind of weighing the picture down. Um, and all the action is here on the right side. I think that looks pretty good. I mean, tweak it to taste as far as colors or black and white. But the main thing is the composition. I think this works pretty well. A little better than the one on the left. All right. Yeah, the black and white came out nice. Let me just look at that again. I have to pull the white balance in. Right about there, right? Okay, let's go to the next one. Thanks for sending that in, Wiley. Very interesting. And this one says, from DeMorgan, critique only, 16 by 9 for TV slideshow. Okay. So that's the reason for the composition. No EXIF. I think this is very symbolic of the sign of the times, right? That you have this wonderful super mall, but there's nobody there. I mean, I see a couple people sitting here and a couple people walking here, which implies that things are open, but you know, everything's shut down. Restaurants, you know, there's a little open sign here. So I think in terms of informationally, this image tells a lot about how things are now. I don't know when this was taken. Maybe this was taken before the pandemic, but to my eyes, this could have been taken more recently. If we could see masks on these people, that would be that would be kind of cool. But that's the only reason I think it might not have been taken more recently. And I feel like color-wise, you know, cloudy, hazy day, like it's about to rain or something. That would be my only criticism, which has nothing to do with taking the picture. You know, the processing is really good. I think he brought all of the colors in just right. And just the natural shape of the buildings draws your eyes right into the image everywhere. It's not like, I don't feel like there's anything distracting here, even though it's a very, very busy scene. And this is a really good example of an image that has a lot of, technically it's chaos, right? But it's still very pleasing and still draws your eye and attention into the image and everything that's going on without being distracting. So this to me is an excellent image, I think. I don't know, you guys, what do you guys think? Leave some chat comments there for DeMorcan what you think. But I think this is a great image. You know, I might crop in a little bit off the left here. I mean, just a little bit like this. But it has to say 16 by 9. So but that doesn't change it much. But yeah, I really like it. I really like it. Just a little bit of maybe a little push in the midtones is about all I would do. Right? Something like that. But yeah, that's a great picture, DeMorcan. I really like it. I think it really, there's just so much there for you to look at that it doesn't get boring at all, and it's not hard to look at. It's not a pleasing picture, but it's not, meaning by pleasing meaning it's chaotic, right? But it's still very, very interesting. So I really like it. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is from Lauren. He's also asking for a critique based on the file name. Um, and Lauren, you know, I know Lauren's photography. He always crops in very tight and very strong colors. The colors have contrast, and then the luminance and everything has a lot of contrast. So this processing, this is kind of signature Lauren. So I can't really make any criticisms there about his style of photography. Because I would process this very differently, much softer, more muted. But for Lauren, this is really good. I mean, this is his style. I think the only thing I would say was I would rather have this line straight and the boat crooked. Um, like so. And then something like that. I'd rather boat be crooked, and I would have probably gone a little bit more to the right and seen more of the more orange here, contrasting this blue. So if you could have moved over to the right to see more of the orange of the boat to fill the color a little bit, because right now the image is very, very blue overall, and there's only about maybe 10% or 15% right here is orange, and this orange. So maybe 15 to 20% of the picture is orange, and then the other 70 to 80% is blue. So you know me in balance, right? I would have probably balanced maybe 30 to 40%, maybe 30%, like twice as much orange in this image by moving over to the right. And that will also give the boat a little bit more of a Dutch angle too. Um, in the frame to kind of lead your eye from one corner to the other to draw your eye into the boat. That's just my thinking. Okay, yeah, it's nice, Lauren. It's Yeah, lots of great colors. I would have just liked to seen a little more orange. And, you know, like I said, leave any comments in the chat section you'd like to say to Lauren about that image, any suggestions. But yeah, it's really nice, Lauren. Um, okay. One here from Gilbert. This one's pretty much edited. Let me look at it full screen. Gilbert always sends like pretty much a finished image, so it's mostly just critique. My only challenge is it's just too tight on the corners for this building, meaning it's no longer a picture of this building in the context of the environment, right? The building itself is now really more of the background to the subject, which I think is right here in the front. I mean, I like the overall processing. It looks like a little light painting maybe in here along these lights, just to give them a little glow. So honestly, I would probably forget about this whole left side here. And oh, let's look at the X. If it's EM1X with a 12 to 40, 18 millimeter f8, yep, all excellent settings. Let me do 4x5. And this to me is a little bit more what the picture should be about. And forget about this left side. And you know me, I just like a little more contrast is all. So I would push this down. Yeah, it's a little tight on the top. A little bit. I bet the haze would have done the same thing and some clarity. And then crank up the sharpness. And slight vignette. I need a little bit more in the midtones. Right there. Okay. So I'm done there. Let me change my battery. All right, so that's all I would do to it. Just really crop in over to the right so that we can see the people a little better and the sign. A little more headroom on the sign, and I think that's it, really. I'd have liked to crop in a little tighter, but I would have lost the top and the bottom a little bit, which we need this room on the sides. I bet a square crop would be all right. You know, and just come in over here. Something like that. I mean, that kind of works too. No, I think that works better. Just a nice tight square crop on the image. Okay, but yeah, it's a great shot. Gilbert sends in a lot of really excellent images. So you know, it doesn't take long to edit. But I just have different composition. I have different choices, right? Oh, a sepia. Yeah. I can pull a sepia in. It's just a little bit of a sepia. There. That looks really good. So there's my final answer. Feels a little crooked. I need to tilt it a little, but I think that looks great. It's a much stronger composition, I think. Getting in tight with the hotel name and the people coming out. Okay. But great shot, Gilbert, as always. And let's see, we have one here from Joni. My new EM5 Mark II. Oh, nice. Got a silver one. I would have loved to have a silver EM5 Mark II. Ooh, okay, so what did you take it with? Your old EM5 with a 12 to 40 f2.8. So very tight focusing. And just a little negative EV for the highlights. All right, this will be an easy edit because there's nothing to crop. I think I just need to go to full-on monochrome and then just make it very gritty, right? Whoops. We may do a split tone too because there's good contrast here. I'm just going to make it even punchier. I think the only distracting thing is this triangle coming in? This bunch of light on the left side is distracting me. And let's split tone it with some blue. So we'll make the highlights a little blue and crush the blacks. Just add in a little bit of sepia look. Okay, that's it. Fast and easy there. So there's a before and after. So again, on the composition, just a little tighter. Like I said, this triangle over here on the left side was very distracting to the image here. And then just punch in some contrast and a slight blue tint. And I think that's a great shot. Congrats on your new camera. It's awesome. I really wish mine was silver, but I got a black one. All right, let's see. Let's see, we have a starburst and flare. This looks like my old my current 7 to 14 Panasonic, but what is this? This is the fisheye lens. So this is what I was saying. The fisheye lens will produce flare. When in the previous stream I was talking about this, but it's you have to really push it like into a shot like this where the sun is directly shining into it, and then you get flare like this. But generally speaking, the 8mm does not flare. But okay, EM10 Mark II f16. Yep, going for starburst, which this lens is not great at starburst. I know that. 190th ISO. Yep. I mean, all decent settings. Maybe a lower ISO, but it's fine. It's from Image Writer. So I'm gonna do a fisheye correction because this image it doesn't really make much difference. So I'll just click that and let's tilt it. I don't have any straight lines except maybe this one right here. Right here. This line and this line. Okay, so now it's straight and corrected. Let me see where. Oops, I forgot my timer. Where's the just yeah, the starburst is not going to work. So I need a little bit more tilt. Okay. And the colors are so far in the shade here, I don't think I can recover those and make it the only, well, you know, dramatic tone might do it. Let me try that. Wow. That's okay. I'm not crazy about that, but this will help me with my composition a little bit to see where everything is. Maybe that. And let's do monotone and get rid of all of the flare. Well, at least the weird colors that the flare is giving off. Okay, dehaze. Clarity. Pull this in. Red filter should bring out some of the stuff. Gradation's already set. I'm gonna try and keystone it a little bit. Okay. And that's too much. Maybe about that. I'm trying to not get too much noise up here. So now I have this halo. Oh, that's better. Okay. I'm going to look at color one more time. Oh, Ultramuck, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, that flare is just too distracting, so I think monochrome. Oh, hey, it's car shopping. That's always fun. We'll see you later, Scott. Let me know what you buy. I'm gonna guess. You're gonna get a Prius. Okay. Anyway, I'm a little bit psychic, just so you know, but you're gonna buy a Prius, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be either mint green or red. No, not red. Mint green. Mint green Prius. Okay, with white interior. All right, I think I'm gonna call it there since I'm out of time. So, yeah, I think this image has no reason to be a fisheye other than you wanted to get that wide angle. So I applied the fisheye correction, and then I used you know, the starburst is just a wreck with all the smearing from the flaring. So that's mainly why I went black and white. And plus the colors down here are, any hope of recovering these colors are going to be super grainy anyway. So I think just going black and white, adding some contrast and dramatic tone, I think that doesn't look bad. Doesn't look bad. Okay. Um, go to the next one. Ah, beautiful picture, Matt. Have this nice red over here, blue skies. I mean, this is almost a golden hour pick based on how long the shadows are. Um, EM10 Mark II with a kit lens, 35mm f8, 1/2000, -1 EV. Yep. Most people dial in a positive EV, right, for snow, but you went in negative because you definitely wanted to save all of the highlight information, right? So I think I'm just going to warm this up. Oops, let me get all in there. Oh, thank you, Wiley. I'm going to warm this up quite a bit just to get more to the golden hour look. Maybe some magenta. Wow, I'm up to 11,000 Kelvin. Okay. And let's try some gradation. Oh, we're already on auto, so that's it. And tons of sharpness. Turn off this noise filter. And all right, now let's think about this composition. I'm going to straighten it a tiny bit. This tree is way too heavy on the left. So I can either go wider to minimize that. Oh. And this is a little distracting over here. There, I think that's a little better. Still heavy over here. Maybe come in. All right, I'm going to go with that composition. And let me work on the colors. So, a little dehaze first. We need to push the midtones. Yeah, these need to be brighter down in here. All right, good. Keep the blacks a little bit. Okay, some clarity maybe. Do I have any color? No, I don't have any color there. What I'm trying to do, I'd like to get a little more reds in here. Yeah, 21,000 actuations. If the camera was well cared for, John, meaning it wasn't dropped like 100 times like I drop my cameras, and it was well cared for and not beat up, I think, yeah, 21,000 actuations is nothing on a camera like that. Okay, I just need a little more brightness. Okay, I'm going to call it there. Okay, so yeah, um, to me this was a golden hour shot because of the long shadows, so I just warmed it up quite a bit. And then compositionally, I wanted to get rid of this pole and a lot of this tree because it was just weighing in too much. I mean, a vertical might work too. Let me, all right, Lauren, we'll see you later. I mean, a vertical might have worked if we did a 4x5. Just came in. I mean, that composition works too. right? We get rid of all the distractions, the big tree on the right, the stupid telephone poles on the left, and just focus on the road and this little house next to it. So, yeah, definitely 400 bucks or less on an EM5 Mark II. Definitely, that's good advice, Plato. But this composition works too. So, I like this composition a little better than what I had before. Sometimes you see things last second, right? All right, so good shot though, Matt. So there's the before and after. Before and after without my head. Okay. So DeMorgan had the same idea. Oh, thanks, Matt. You like that? That came out okay. All right. Wow. All right, Phil. What did you do here? EM10 Mark II, 14 to 42, F5, 1, 2. Oh, minus 1 and a third EV. Why? Wow. That's what's killing this shot. So I guess you were trying to save the highlights, but you know, when it's twilight hour like this, you don't really have to dial in any EV. You could probably dial in a plus one on twilight shots. But all right, let's just get to the editing and see what's in there. I need to see what's in the frame, so I'm just gonna crank this up. So you can see what I mean here, Phil. I added 2 EV to the scene, and there's still nothing being blown out highlight wise. So that's what I'm saying. In these kind of scenes, you don't have to worry about dialing in negative exposure comp. So I'm going to stay at plus 2 EV. Let's add some gradation. And fortunately, not a lot of noise came in. I mean, but you can, actually a lot of noise did come in. That's all right. And we're already using a filter. But that's why you don't want to dial in negative EV. If you have all of this subject matter in here, this is where you need the exposure to be more accurate, so you don't get so much noise in the shadows. But that said, let's try vivid. See if we can bring out some of the colors, because I assume this is why you wanted this shot, was because of the colors in the sky. Some of the haze will help. Oh, you're here, Phil. Sorry. That's good. I'm glad you're hearing the comments live. So there we go. That's helping to bring out the sky. Let's see if we can bring out some speculars, like these chairs with this clarity. Okay, Plato, we'll see you later. And, all right, now compositionally, I think it's just all about the chairs and the scenery, right? These chairs looking into this beautiful, uh, so let's try vertical. Maybe not vertical. That's just cutting off too much. Let me see what that looks like. Yeah, that's cutting off too much. Let's try square. Nope. Let's go wide. Because what's distracting me is this canopy and these boats here is what's kind of bothering me about this image. Let's go with that. Can I get rid of those trees? I don't like this tree falling in. That's too tight. If that's going to be there, let's go a little higher. Okay. Now let's work with the tone curve. Just push a little bit more in here. Where's my blues? Let me pull a little bit more blue into the highlights. Pull this back down. And then let's warm up the image, and I'm done. I'm going to get rid of this. Okay. All right, so here's a before and after. So visually, the exposure is a lot better, but the composition is just a little bit too messy with all the boats and the canopies on the left side. It'd been nicer to get, maybe use a tighter, more telephoto lens and compress the scene so you don't have to get so many boats in the image and just get more of the sky and the chairs. And then, of course, reposition yourself to that angle. But yeah, it would be really nice to be sitting here. It looks warm. I don't know if it is or not, but with all the green grass, it looks like a really nice warm place to sit down and relax. All right. John Truman says, I have learned that you use the curve much more than I do. Yeah, I love the curve. I don't use it in Lightroom much, actually, but I do use it a lot when I'm in workspace. Wow, beautiful scene, Steve. Man, and that's a straight up raw image. I mean, there's some processing, I guess, in camera. Let's see, if anything. You chose vivid, and that's it. So, wow, I wish you could have got a little slightly wider shot. What's your exif data? EM5 with a 40 to 150 at f10, ISO 200. So yeah, I would have shot this probably easily at f8 or f5.6, at least f8, but you probably could have gone f5.6. And then a little bit wider, because I don't know what was below this tree. Maybe there's a reason you didn't want to shoot below that line, but this needs to be, I'm not crazy about this part getting cut off in these shadows. But everything else is really nice. So let me work with the composition a little bit. If I were to just cut in a little bit to there, since this bottom is cut off anyway, I just want to get a line. Oh, that's too tight. Right there is probably about right. Oh, Steve says phone lines. Okay. See, it makes sense. That's why I always say, you know, I wasn't there, so I don't know why you didn't compose it differently. But since you're here, you can tell me because there's phone lines below there. So that makes perfect sense. But yeah, I think just a little wider, 3x2 works. And the vivid is a right choice. Let's add some dehaze to bring out a little bit more contrast. Not too much. I'll throw in a little more with the tone curve. And then I'm going to warm it up slightly. And maybe a little clarity. See if that brings the trees in a little crispier. Definitely the sharpness. Turn off this noise filter. And let's work with the tone curve a little bit. Good, good. Right there. Let's look at it full screen. Yeah, I love those white trees with the yellow leaves. It's beautiful. Dang, I got 2 minutes left on this. I guess not much more needs to be done. What do you guys think? I think that's it. I mean, I could crank the dehaze all the way, maybe. I don't think that takes away from the scene too much. And I'd really like the whites to shine a little more, so more clarity. And I think that's it. Let me see the before and after. Very subtle. I need a little bit more green, maybe. Let me see if I can push the green slightly. Down in here and here. Okay, so lower part of the histogram. Just a slight push to green. All right, I'm going to call it right there. So just a slightly wider crop. I would just see this corner down here. I just want that corner to meet this corner. It doesn't really lead your eye into the scene, but this empty space here just wasn't working for me. And then contrast and slight color shift. I felt like the greens needed to be just a little bit stronger in here. Very, very subtle, the differences. You may not even be able to see it on YouTube. And some dehaze. But I think that's a good example of a shot. When you get everything perfect in camera, there's not much editing left to do other than to taste, really. All right. Yep, beautiful shot, Steve. Excellent work there. All right, that's the end of the Olympus cameras. Let's see. We have any... Okay, wait for a little. This one I was doing my macro video. These shots here. All right, let's go to here. Synchronize. Okay. Almost there. Come on. Over, 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 down. Perfect. Okay, let's go to here. Fewer edits. These. Give me 1 second. Let me make these red. Put it here, turn this off. Okay, so I need to do this one, this one. Done those, I've done these. All right, so just 2 more. And then we'll go to the viewer edits. All right, so we have a beautiful moth, I guess, or butterfly of some kind. And this was a Nikon 1V1. And there's the EXIF. You know, I have no context for Nikon 1, so I would just say maybe faster shutter speed, but then you'd have to crank your ISO. And I think that's a 1-inch sensor. So we just misfocused a little bit. So let me tilt it a little bit. So he's looking up. Oh, I cut his foot off. Let's do a square. Come back. Click auto here. Oops, I don't have my timer. All right. And let's try and sharpen this somewhat. Let me get rid of the color noise. Do some luminance noise. And then we'll sharpen and mask. Right there. Right there. And I'll go with a big radius because it's blurry, so I have to use a bigger radius number. There. Okay, I think that's good. And let me do the colors a little bit differently. Add some texture, clarity. All right. That's it. Maybe a little less texture. I can't put a mask on texture, so what's happening is this area here is getting kind of blotchy. So let's turn the texture off. And let's do a comparison. Create virtual copy, reset, compare. Yeah, so I just cropped in basically, and I tried to recover some of the detail, but you can see I over sharpened a tiny bit when you punch in. But when you back off and kind of look at it, I think it's okay. And just a little more saturation. I think that's the best we can do with a blurry shot. All right. Oh, thanks, John. Let's go to the next one. Oh, interesting. This is a couple of schoolgirls there in China, it looks like, or Malaysia. I don't know. Canon M100, Dawood. Oh, I think Dawood said he's in the Philippines. Can't remember. Okay, let's Canon M100 ISO 2. Yeah, settings are fair. I got no complaints there. Let's see. Let me just click auto and see where that takes me. Definitely more shadow detail. All the highlights. Yeah. Let's fix the white balance. Back that off a little bit. Let me straighten it automatically. There. All right. And compositionally, dang, this is This is the most interesting part, is right in here. But I like everything in here. It's interesting kind of all over. I just wish you could have got like all the steps in. But, oh, there's a person up here too. It's funny, they got an internet sign right here. So there's lots of interesting information in this image. Um, oh, Dawid, you're here. So yeah, you're in the Philippines. That's if I remember correctly. I think you mentioned that before. There's lots of interesting things here. I feel like if you focused on any one of these things, it'd have been a little stronger image. Because right now the subject looks like it's this whole scene, but there's actually lots of neat little things inside. Let me just look at it full screen. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the red steps on the bottom left. The building that's being put up or built there on the right, so a square crop should get us there. And that's too tight. What a simple 4x5. I can get some kind of angle. Hmm. I need... Man, this is not good. I'm trying to get both stories in at the same time, but I can't. I like this lady here. I guess I'll go with this because I'm running out of time. There's about 6 pictures in there. Yeah, I know, right, John? Oh, the narrowband channel, John. Narrowband channel. That's his YouTube. His name is Ben, but I don't. That's his channel. All right, let's work with some of the finer details here, and then get done with this one. I need to. I'm definitely going to go over 4 minutes on this. Let me pull off a little color noise, little luminance, and work on the sharpening down to there. Okay. I need to be... What was the original white balance? Back it off. Gosh, I almost feel like a black and white would be better. I don't want to do that quite yet. Yeah, I gotta leave it there. So, it's gonna take, it would take me a while to find a way to crop this, but then we would lose so much detail if I cropped into where I thought the story was. That all right, so here's the crop basically. Compositionally, the only thing wrong with this is it's a little bit too heavy here on the left side with the stairs, and then it's flat because it's a cloudy day. So I just cranked up the contrast and saturation. And so if you were taking a picture of this uh, gazebo or whatever this would be good enough. But the problem is you got interesting stories happening inside here. You got these schoolgirls here, and you got this lady here with this internet sign, and these weird circles and everything. So like John was saying earlier, there's like 6 or 7 shots in this one image, and you have to you know, you may not have a choice based on the camera you're using or the, you know, I wouldn't feel comfortable walking up to either one of these two people, right? The schoolgirls or that lady, and saying and get a shot, right? It'd be so obvious that you're taking a picture of them. But that's where the story is, unfortunately. The dragons are interesting, the steps, everything. There's so many things here that I think really would have been much better shot. But for as far as editing goes, that's what I would do with the editing, with the colors and the contrast. All right, let's go ahead to the viewer edits and pull that off, bring in the reds, and let me show you guys the original image. Here's the original image. It's very dark. God knows why I dialed in any exposure comp. I think I did, and that's why this is so dark. After I gave someone else a hard time about exposure comp, right? I give you guys a picture that has like negative exposure comp on. I think I was like -1.5. God knows why. I wouldn't do that again if I took this picture again. But anyhow, that's the original. So it's a cabin in the woods, right? And I need to... One of these, actually, I did my own edit on one of these. I'll have to see if I can pick it out. Yeah, this is my edit. Okay. So let me turn that off. We'll look at that one last. All right, so wow, based off the original to this is awesome. This feels like a Marcel image because he light paints the images so that you get this sort of surreal effect where the light is coming in where it wasn't normally. So I really like this. So I put my money on Marcel. Yeah, I knew it. Awesome job, Marcel. This is awesome. I love the vignette and the way that you brought the light and the light painting. I mean, look how smooth it is from this side where the light is hitting to over here. It's really interesting. Rob's retirement moment. Yeah, it's beautiful, right? All right, and this one here, this is Marcel again. Because the light painting's identical, but it's in color. I think I much prefer the black and white, though. But yeah, definitely Marcel. Good job. And my retirement home. Honestly, I would be so happy if I could live there as a retirement home. It's got a beautiful fireplace. I could hook up a wood stove in there. And, you know, I'd probably drywall the inside, but this is cool. All right, so what do we got here? We got sort of a diorama effect, right? I don't think it works here, honestly, because you're too close. I think if you left the frame wide and then did a diorama, maybe. Plus, dioramas generally are better when you're looking down at something, not straight on. But I think the processing otherwise is really good. You brought out all of the shadow detail and the trees. Everything else looks good. I can't guess who this is. If I had to guess, say Image Writer. Oh, Phil. Okay. Wow. Um, good job on the processing, Phil, except I'm not crazy about the diorama effect too much. This could be good with a depth of field mask, maybe, yeah. Okay, let's move on. This is excellent processing here. This feels a lot like, you know, this is a processing where you just want to bring back what you were seeing with your naked eye, right? So in that sense, I think it's excellent. Um, it's a very conservative edit, though, right? No, there's no, you didn't take any risks with this image, right? You just kind of went with a very conservative image here. Dragos, good job, Dragos. I think it's a great edit. It's just very conservative. Let me punch in. It has to render sometimes. There we go. Yeah, that's great. Great. You really did a good job bringing the details in and stuff. Yeah, you would think it was Walter, right? That is typical Walter type editing. I agree. I was gonna say Walter, but something threw me off. Like Walter, okay, this is where Walter would not do. He would not leave the sky like this, right? See how white the sky is? He would have definitely done something to fix that. That's why I didn't think it was Walter. Walter's really good about bringing blacks in and whites in and balancing the exposure. Uh, so anyway, all right, this one, let me punch in and make sure it's rendered. Okay. Oh, I like this. It's weird that the front is soft though, but oh, I see. You were trying to get a depth of field action here in the background, but somehow the front got mushy. It almost, now the image almost looks like you pasted the cabin into the photo versus the photo being part of the cabin being part of the photo. You think this is Image Writer? Okay, we'll see. Could be. I'd go with that. Because the Image Writer takes risks, right, with his editing. Um, definitely. But yeah, I like it. I think it's pleasant. It's a pleasant image. I like how you tried to fake the depth of field, but it's not gradual. See, like right here is too sharp. I would have made, yeah, I would have done it a little differently because now it looks like it's just cut in. Let's see. Oh, Joni. Okay, Joni. Good job. All right. We were both wrong, Marcel. And Tina's going to be messing with me. That's fine. Um, wow, this is a black and white where you played with the color sliders. It looks like you pushed the yellows really high. Um, but this is, it almost looks like it's snow, right? But yeah, this is an interesting edit. I can't even guess. Matt. All right, Matt. Interesting. Interesting. It's almost a little infrared looking to me. Like an infrared shot. All right. This definitely looks like an infrared shot, right? Because now all the greens are, and there's a green tint overall or a cyan tint. Um, but really good job bringing the shadows in. All the shadow detail is really good and good sharpening. Not a fan of this infrared look, but the editing is very good. Wiley. Okay, Wiley, good job. Interesting green tint though. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Haven't seen anything like this before. I mean, wow. And the crop is decent too. I think it still balances well. Typically, I like the left side, the right side to be a little heavier if the house was pointing that way, but it's fine. This is, I guarantee this is Demorkin. No, I'm gonna say Surge. I'm gonna go with Surge. Because this has a canvas mat to it, right? If you look close, he added a canvas mat and then made it sort of like an oil painting, but it's kind of mixed with monotones. But this is a great edit. I really like this one. So I'm gonna say Surge. Oh, Scott! Wow, I forgot. Scott is a risk taker too. Good job, Scott. Not bad. All right, I like it a lot. I like the crop too. The nice wide crop. It works really well. And this one here, let me just punch in. Okay. So this one here, this is almost identical to the last one. So it'd lead me to think it was Scott again, sending in two different edits, but I don't know. I like it though. It's another very different kind of look to the same scene, right? I like how the cabin is just so gray compared to everything else. And one thing, since we're in a color picture, these rocks here have a blue tint to them. 'Cause I think this is part of the Blue Ridge Mountains of the Great Smoky Mountains. There's a lot of blue rocks. I mean, you wouldn't know that unless you actually lived around in this area, but you would know that these rocks are generally tend to be kind of blue in color. All right, you think this was Steve Page? Oh, it's not Steve Page. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed Steve, but I have no idea. Image Writer, I knew it. Like I said, Image Writer generally takes some risks with his editing, and this wasn't too far out of the box, but definitely was. It's not a straight up image like we saw earlier, or a straight up edit. And good crop. I like the wide crop. Yeah, and this is very close to what I was gonna do. I ended up not going this direction, but this is actually pretty close to my first iteration of this edit. And you know, because you look at the cabin, it's still got kind of the browns and reds in it, in the wood. And this rock here formation is kind of framing this whole image, and that's what I kind of liked about this shot. And the other thing done here is you cut out the overblown sky. So even though I dialed in a -1.5 exposure comp, the sky was still blown out. So that tells you how dark this scene was. But I like the way this frames. So this is a nice clean edit. Let's see who did this one. John Follows. Yep. This is very close to what I was gonna do. So if you were showing pictures from your trip, you would say, I took this picture and, this is a great picture of this cabin. And people would be able to find the cabin because it looks exactly like this. Okay. Wow. This is similar to the one we saw before, but not so much. It's more muted. And when I say you brought up the shadows well, I'm looking right in here because I had trouble with this area myself, bringing the shadows in without jacking up everything else. And this is a good framing too. Compositionally, it's a good crop. So I like this. Very muted look. This is Steve. All right, Steve G, not Steve Page. All right, good edit, Steve. Yeah, I like this too, right, Steve? And Tina likes it. Yep, very good. And the square crop. This is the crop I ended up going with personally. Um, it's more like 4x5. I would say DeMorcan. I'm gonna go with DeMorcan on this one. But yeah, contrasty, and let me make sure it's all rendered out. There we go. Good contrast. Really, you brought out the colors and the stones here, which I didn't notice before. So it's really highly saturated. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess DeMorcan, but I like this edit. Really strong colors. Steve Page. Dang it. I'll never. You know, if I get like even 2 or 3 right out of 100, that would be impressive. But you know, wow. All right, Steve, not bad, not bad. I like how you brought the colors out. It's a little bit dark for me. The shadows are too dark, but I think you did a good job on the colors. Wow, this feels almost like a DeMorcan, but this is somebody trying to imitate DeMorcan maybe. Because DeMorcan would not do this kind of light painting unless he had some light up here in the sky somewhere where the light would be coming from. Because so far, every image DeMorcan, or not, I'm sorry, Marcel has been sending in has been a point of light and then the light painting on the bottom. But this one is strictly just light painting, it looks like. And I think he did a good job bringing out the cabin to be the main subject of the image. Because that's definitely where what your eye is drawn to first. I would just warm up everything else a little bit more just to kind of match this a little better, but the crop and everything is good. Yeah, this looks good. Who did this one? Garrett. All right, good job, Garrett. This is a great edit. Wow. This feels like the moonlight hitting it, right? It's got a soft, like cyany tint, and you crushed all of the shadows. Only challenge is this right side is a little bit bright if the light source is hitting on the roof. But everything else is great. If the light source was on the right side, maybe. But because the light source is over here. So this screams of Marcel, but I've already seen a couple from Marcel today, so I'm not sure. I'm gonna get a third one. But maybe. Let's see. Surge. I'm just gonna call a name out next time because I always have these gut feelings. And I was thinking Surge, but I haven't seen Surge do anything like this yet. You know, where it's with the light painting. But that's cool. I'm glad you guys are feeding off each other, you know, on the edits. That's why I do all of these so we can see everything. Yeah, right, Surge. Surge did a good job. I think it's just the lighting on this side is a little bit off. See, DeMorcom wouldn't make that mistake. I'm sorry, Marcel would not make that mistake. It's not a mistake, Surge. I'm just being harsh. And this is Surge again because the framing didn't change. Um, yeah, this is great. This one has a little bit of a shadow here, but then there's light here. Oh, shoot. That's what's throwing this off a little bit for me. But yeah, good job, Surge. I'll just confirm that. Yep, Surge again. Very good. And now I'm going to put my money on DeMorcan. Nice sepia tone. You would think it was Lauren, right? Because Lauren's always screaming sepia. But I don't think I've ever seen Lauren submit an edit of one of my images. So that's why I'm not going to say it's not, I'm trying to be deductive instead of actually trying to guess on the editing. So I'm being a little detective here. But I'm gonna say DeMorcan. Because this is a 4x3 kind of crop. Nice tight crop. It looks good. It looks authentic to me, like an old-time photo. Ah, I knew it. Demorkin. I called it. I got one right. Whoops. That was not on purpose. You know how Tony and Chelsea, they say, oh, I'm going to give this one a pick. What the hell is that all about? Like, why are they flagging certain images during their stream? I mean, they've already said, oh, I like this picture. Then flagging, what does that do? But anyway. Okay, good clean edit. Very conservative. I think it's not rendered. No, it is rendered. So, yeah, very clean edit. Conservative. And just so you know, I used the 9mm body cap lens on this image, I believe, because I don't think there's any... Yeah, there's no exit date. Oh, I cheated. It's the Morkin again. Yeah, this does scream of the Morkin though. Not quite though. I wouldn't have guessed the Morkin on this, to be honest. Because a little wider crop than I'm used to seeing from him. He likes the 4x5 crop. Like this one is a little tighter. This is like a 4x3. This is like a 3x2. But that looks good. Okay. And this one, wow. I'm gonna say Tina. I'm just guessing. And I only say that because there's a white vignette. I don't know why, but women like, and I'm not being sexist or anything, but I always find, I got this feeling that women like the white vignettes. No, see, Tina likes this. The Morgan's trying to give me different looks. Yep, I appreciate that, definitely. You know, I don't mind, you know, for the editing part that I edit, just send one picture. But for my pictures, you know, send as many as you want. Don't send 100, but, you know, 2 or 3 is fine to see all the different looks. Because we all have different ideas about the same scene, right? And it's all about preference. But this one is just about the rocks leading into the woods. So that's interesting. I think if I knew if there was no cabin there, maybe this shot would work. But because I know there's a cabin, I feel like this is not working for me. But it's a good clean edit otherwise, you know. And this little structure here being behind the trees compositionally would be a problem for me if this was the only thing in the forest. But it's still an interesting picture this way, I think. DeMorkin, oh my God, DeMorkin, I didn't expect that from you. That's definitely different. All right, and that was the last one of the viewer edits. Let me show you my edit. What did I do? I turn this off and give it 2 stars. This was my edit. So I went with a square crop. Let me just make sure it's rendered there. So I went with a square crop and then a little bit of split toning and contrast. And like I was saying before, this is where I was having a lot of trouble with the shadow areas. So what I did, because when I brought the shadows up here, all of the shadows in the trees would come up too, right? So oddly enough, subtracting some dehaze on the dehaze slider really brought this area out for me. So that's what I did to do that. Is doing a negative dehaze, because I always do positive dehaze, but in Lightroom you can do negative dehaze. And it's a little tight on the right side, but I felt like these rocks framed the house. And I ended up keeping the sky up here, even though it's blown out. So that's my edit. I'm going to put this up on Instagram. Another reason I put it in square mode, you know. I try to do square whenever I can if I'm going to post on Instagram. But I think this came out good. I think it's a clean, very conservative edit to some extent. But yeah, that's you guys did some great edits again. These are all really good. I can't pick a favorite. I'm leaning towards this one. I like this muted look from Steve. And I like the wider crop. My square crop is not great. And then this other one, this one was, I like this one too. This is a little bit too out there, but I like this one too. I forget who did this one. Scott. Yeah, I like Scott's and I like this muted look. So for me, these are my two favorites today. Like I said, it's all just personal preference. Doesn't mean anything. And I'll put these up on my forum. And again, if I do have that new line item on my forum. So if you guys want to submit your images and have Steve or whoever, DeMorcan, Tina, if you guys want to edit other people's pictures or have yours edited by other people, that's the place I have. Yeah, Scott's was your favorite, Jeff? Yeah, that was a good one. It's a tough call. I just kind of like this muted look for some reason. But here's the forum. So you go down here, critique or edit my photos. So you can submit your raw images here now. And if, other people can edit them if you want. And then this is where I post all of the edits that you guys do of my pictures. I did this in the beginning of the stream. All right. Thanks everyone again for joining me today. We'll see you guys again on Thursday, God willing. We'll do some more photo editing, maybe photo critiquing, but remember, I don't know what to remember. I'm having a senior moment. But thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate you sending your images in, editing my images. It's always a lot of fun. And I'll catch you guys on Thursday. You should be, oh, DeMorcan has a question. And Tina, why is it better to use square format for Instagram? Because when people are scrolling on their phones, it used to be you could only see a square format. So at least when they see the square format, they're seeing the whole image. If you crop to say 16 by 9, it may get cut off when they're scrolling, and unless they click on the picture, they may not see the whole wide image. You'll see. Try sending different things in. It may have improved since I've last gave it much thought, but I just prefer square when I'm using on Instagram. And DeMorcan, yeah, I put in Canon, Fuji, Nikon, Sony, Panasonic. I think I have 5 and Olympus. I have at least six different RAW files you can upload in, as well as DNG and TIFF and all the other ones. If there's some weird like Red Dragon or some phase 1 raw image you have, you're not gonna be able to upload those, but most of the major brands should be able to upload. If not, just send me a message in the forum and I'll add it. Okay, now I'm going. See you later, Garrett, DeMorcan, Jeff, everybody, Tina. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.